Welcome to Inside Estacada Schools. I'm Maggie Kelly.
And I'm Josh Gray, and we're back to share the latest news and updates from inside your Estacada Schools.
This episode is going to take you on an in-depth look at what our district is doing in order to properly address our campus and building needs.
This process is called Longrange Planning. There are several steps in order to accomplish this goal.
Mike Waer has been one of the district leaders guiding this process. We talked with Mike about long-range planning and what it entails.
Yeah, long-range planning is a process for the district to evaluate the current need of our facilities. It allows us to dive deep into a few different tools and data to be able to make a master plan for our facilities and to be able to move forward on potential capital bond projects. We have staff from the Estacada School District, our leaders, members of our board of directors, and community members are all participating in the process. We use three primary tools, which is our facility condition assessment, community polling, and our population studies. Facility condition assessment is really an assessment of the current assets and equipment and systems within the district. We complete this process through a series of different events with interviews, on-site observations, review of building plans and other documents to really ultimately come out with an assessment of where our HVAC systems are, our windows, our parking lots, our buildings itself. We're able to get a rating on our buildings on the impact rating. So if something were to fail, what kind of impact would it have on our students and our teachers or our staff? Occupancy rating, life expectancy, and then ultimately a repair or replacement cost. Well, after we've done all long-range planning, we develop a formal report that we provide to our board of directors. Ultimately, it's with some recommendations, and within the report has some budget scenarios. If the district and the board of directors elect to go out for a bond, a capital construction bond, we would need to be able to poll our community. And from the long-range facility planning and from the facility condition assessment, we're able to build budget scenarios. What would it take to just address current need? What would it take to address current need plus a new building, and so on. So we would present that report to our board of directors, giving them all the resources and information needed to make an informed decision.
It is great to see how our community is directly involved in this process.
We talked with a few of the committee members to get their perspectives on how things are going.
So could you briefly tell me what you've been learning about in the Long Range Planning Committee and why you decided to sign up?
I think the most important thing is that we are growing here in Estacada, and we're growing at such a huge rate that we're going to have trouble having the capacity to educate the kids at the same level, the same grade level that we've been educating them at so far. And my kids are very young, so I was very interested to see how that was going to turn out for my kids, and I wanted to have a part of it.
Great. What is one thing that you've learned so far from this process, or something that's surprised you?
Well, I didn't know that we paid the least amount so far for, per capita for education. So I think that there's some room there, especially considering that we've experienced the highest percentage of growth for students in this area. So I think the biggest learning piece for me and takeaway is that I've been getting it away with a very good education for not as much money as what everyone else is paying. So I'd really like to see that continue and to not put too much stress on our teachers and me as a parent to know that there's going to continue to be that quality education.
In terms of our facilities, what do you feel is a pressing need that has stood out to you?
Space. I feel like we don't have enough space. I work at Rivermill, and I think the last 2 weeks we've had 5 or 6 new kids. We're at capacity. We're very close to it, and I would love to see more space for our kids so they can have more room, teachers have less kids, and just really be able to manage those populations that are coming, and so we can welcome those new families. I know my kids, they love it here, and I think they've made the most friends that they've ever made in this district. We're pretty new. We've only been here for a few years, but we've loved it so much. But I would love to see more things expand so that when my kids do grow into the high school and they think about careers and they think about long-term plans, that there'll be things here that they can work on to move towards that direction.
Why did you decide to be a part of the Long Range Planning Committee?
Well, I figure our kids needs better, and our schools due for a lot of improvements. I think the community actually deserves a better school. People move in here, a lot of people that move into our community, one of the things that always look at is how is the schools in our community and what can we do, because we want our kids to get the best education, and they look at the facilities and all that. So we got a lot of people moving into our town here, and I think it's time we actually make room for it, because we got a lot of kids. In my classes, I got kids up to 35 kids per class, and I think those are kids coming in from junior high. And by the time all those kids move into the high school, we're not going to have enough capacity. And I'm thinking what we're doing here is to try to figure out how we're going to be able to accommodate this population that's moving into our town.
Our community is clearly committed to making sure we have adequate facilities for our students, and our participants have found value in being part of this community involvement process.
Now that we've heard some insights about this undertaking, let's go to Christina Irish to hear how this work gets funded.
Hello, I'm Christina Irish, Director of Finance, and this is your financial update. As you can see, buildings and updating facilities is very expensive work. Building a new high school is estimated, from professionals in the field, at around $80 million. And our current existing facilities have current maintenance costs of over $20 million. These costs exceed what our current funding can address. Our district works with local businesses to keep costs lower, as we recently did with the building of our new turf field. And the district has applied and received more than $4 million in grants over the past 5 years. While these alternative sources of fundings help, additional funds are still needed. Over recent years, the district has been able to allocate some general fund resources to the Capital Projects Fund. Historically, that has been about 1% of our general fund budget. This ensures money is not taken away from the classroom. We also receive tax dollars when construction permits are issued in our area. Last year, we received $416,000 from new permits, but we still have needs that exceeds our funding options. When this happens, school districts must consider a bond package where voters in the community vote on the bond measure. Our last school passed a bond in 2000, and this is going to expire in 2025. This will allow us the opportunity to consider a new bond that will take place of our expiring bond. While we have many more conversations with our community about what a bond package and price might be the best option for our kids and community, here are some of the options we have looked at. A $109 million bond that would build us a new high school and update all of our existing schools. Or a $60 million bond that will build a new elementary school and update all of our existing schools. We look forward to continuing this conversation as we continue to provide information, so you have the most informed perspective on the funding options available to maintain our district facilities. And that's your financial update. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Christina, for walking us through a little bit more background on how the school district funds school facility updates, as well as how taxpayers fund the updates.
Thank you for tuning in to Inside Estacada Schools. Have a wonderful day.